What's today's date?
26th.
All set.
Welcome to Litchfield Recreation Commission meeting. We do not have a quorum present right now, but hopefully we won't have to vote anything before other members show up. It's Tuesday, May 26th, and we have visitors. Who would like to go first? I'm not sure who came in first.
No, you can't.
No, I'm fine. I can wait.
Is Keith Boston gonna make it tonight?
No.
No.
Oh, he's not, okay.
No.
All right.
Can we help you with something
Oh,
though?
yeah, we were actually, here to talk about doing a cornhole, tournament
Okay.
to raise awareness for Chiari. Susan's son is, battling this illness.
There's actually four families in Litchfield
Really?
that have been affected by this, and one family, most recently, mother-daughter. Daughter just had surgery, and the mother is most likely undergoing surgery soon. And my son also is actually facing a possible second surgery to decompress his brainstem, to alleviate a lot of the symptoms he has. So it's a pretty substantial thing to undergo as a child and an adult. And every year in September, we do a Conquer Chiari Walk Across America. And the Pheasant Lane Mall hosts it for us. And so I organized the whole thing and put it together, but my husband and Sean and Brian have come up with the Cornhole League and thought it would be a good idea to do like a Cornhole for Chiari Day and see if the Recreation Board could help us out in helping us like by donating some of the space needed to run the event.
Yeah, we have all the equipment. Keith Buxton's actually in the league, with us as well. We have about 50 to 70 people that play in the league every Thursday night. And I know I could bring in a good crowd, but obviously finding the space is adequate to hold all of us. And I know we do the tournaments down here twice a year for Winterfest, and then we have one in the summertime. It's always a big hit. And it'd be nice to be able to put the money towards a charitable reason. And I know we could bring the crowd in. I believe that you know a police officer that might even be willing to, a Litchfield police officer might be willing to donate his time to help us direct traffic and things like that, if needed.
When are you looking to do it?
Either some dates were thrown out, first weekend in August was good, and the month of September is Chiari Awareness Month across across every state that hosts a walk. We go through the governor's office to get a proclamation made for it. So we were hoping either the first weekend in August or maybe the first or second weekend in September.
Okay.
Should we either indoor or outdoor? Or
Outdoor, I mean, the summer outdoor, and like I said, we have all the boards, nothing needs to be supplied to us, we have everything we need.
So, would you move indoors if the weather wasn't right, or would you be looking for a rain date?
We could do a rain date, I mean, or we can move indoors, and I don't know if the town hall would be willing to have us in there. Obviously, they have things going on as well, indoors, but I know in the winter time.
You're looking to do it on a Saturday?
Saturday? Yeah, probably Saturday.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, issue with indoors, outdoors, we work that stuff out.
Yeah. Okay.
For items that work towards us.
Yeah, I mean, we're open to any suggestions that you have, I mean, we're not,
Sean, tell me your name.
my name is Brian Fletcher.
Oh, who's Sean?
That's
It's
our
my
husband.
husband.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You've been here at the cornhole tournaments already.
Yeah.
Officially, the Recreation Commission requests a formal write-up of what you're looking for.
You can do that.
You can get it right off the website and go from there. If Keith is involved in it, officially, we don't even have to vote for it. But we typically do just to show the support towards it and everything like that, towards where we're heading. When you get your dates finalized and so forth, send it in. I mean, we now have a quorum here, so we can actually do a vote
So,
towards it.
will there be alcohol?
Um,
Just because you'll need a police
Well,
detail?
that's it. If we can secure the police officer, if he's willing to put in the time for the event, then we could do like a BYOB, like we do for both times that we do it during the normal year. But if we can't, then we don't have to have it. Like I said, you can go in either direction.
So for you two guys, they're trying to run a Chiari fundraiser. I can see the sign, but I don't know how to pronounce it. A Chiari fundraiser in August or September. August seems to be where you prefer right now. Don't have a specific date but as we stand, I'll make a motion that we approve our Chiari date in the future based on the support of the Recreation Commissioner on the fundraiser, and we'll work out the time and the details like the police detail and so forth as we get closer to it.
May I ask what a Chiari fundraiser is?
It's actually.
Chiari, what Chiari is?
We would do it on behalf of Conca Chiari, which is an organization that runs a walk across America every September. And all the funds raised go to research of the disease, to find out, what actually causes it.
It's a malformation in the brain.
Oh, okay, all right.
The blood vessels.
Yeah, I see
Blood
the
vessels in
pictures a
the
little
brain.
bit.
There's several families in town that deal
Okay.
with this, so, it's not just one family, it's a bunch of
Right.
families.
Even if it was just one.
Yeah, no.
No, I understand, yeah, I just wanted,
So a fundraiser in August or September and utilizing town hall, a town hall?
No,
The 50
outside,
Prefer
outside if
outside.
the weather's
For outside,
nice.
okay.
I work closely with Keith. I
Yes.
helped him run the winter league, so.
Yeah.
I really know how that works, so.
Yeah, so do we want to make
I
a
need
motion?
I need a second
I'll
before.
second it.
Okay, so I got a second. Any other discussion?
And it's just all day, you said a Saturday?
Yeah, we'll do like a 1 to 4, so keep it, it's a short window,
Okay.
it's not a long, big thing, long drawn out thing. So what we can do is prepare the documentation for you, pick a couple dates. If we can do it indoor, outdoor, depending on the weather, that'd be great, but if we have to pick a rain date, we can do that as well. We'll get you everything that you need.
Well, we get the information. If we're gonna split it up, we'll talk to the pickleball who has the indoor and see what, where they stand for that day. They've been so tremendous about moving their times and space around.
Yeah, no, it's-
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
What would you
Let me
like
know
us
if I can do
400.
anything to help, Susan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What would you like us to send the information? Is it a certain
Give it to
email
Keith. Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine. He'll get it over to us.
All right.
Okay,
Good luck with it.
great.
Well, thank you very much
Have
for your
fun.
time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Mike, how are you?
I'm okay. I got a list tonight. I don't know if that's good or bad. First thing, I'd like to thank you guys for pushing for the fence at Brickyard. They fixed the fence. There are maybe 4 or 5 panels were fixed a couple weeks ago. So that's good. I imagine the neighbor's happy.
Yeah, and future, Kevin and I are gonna keep an eye on it, because we suspect over the next 2 years, we'll have to go a couple more
Yeah,
panels
I mean,
down.
it was, the panels that were down definitely needed to be, they were falling apart.
Yep.
The other thing is, I want to thank Keith for turning on the sprinkler system at Sawmill over the weekend to keep it watered while there was nothing happening. It was a hot weekend, so it's probably good that the water was going, because, it's, unfortunately down there, it's really dry right now, at Sawmill. As opposed to years past where it seems like there's always been too much water there. This year, there just doesn't seem to be enough being put into it. It just seems to be always dry. It seems like that the field right now can't get enough water.
So there's 2 reasons that are causing that. One is our last contractor didn't do his end of the season overseeding or winter fertilization, or from what I can tell, he didn't, what's the term, punching the holes in it? Aerate. He didn't aerate it.
Yes.
So I asked our contract states the aeration, overseeding take place in the fall.
Right.
So I've asked him to get me back some costs associated with doing it now. He said, I'm not discouraging it, but I don't think you get the benefit in this hot weather. I think you're just gonna burn the seed up and,
Right.
and
I mean, usually, from what I get, usually it's done real early, or,
correct.
or at the end, where, sometimes if it gets too cold too quick, even at the end, you're kind of behind the 8 ball with aeration and overseeding, because at that point, it all freezes and it's not gonna germinate till the spring again. But that leads into my next point of, we went back and forth with those emails about aeration and sprinklers being on, and it just seemed, my question is that who's monitoring those guys right now? Like,
Now me.
right, because the thing is we've seen in the past, you said the thing about the aeration, and I'm sitting there going, nothing was aerated in the fall. I know that for a fact. And then in the spring we came around, the water wasn't turned on until probably 2 weeks later than it should have been. And just the schedule wasn't up and running, you know what I mean, anything. So that was my next question. And along with that goes, I know that Andy last meeting said he created emails for lead contacts. So that he'd be pushing them out, so there would be only one, I mean, there'd be a generic email and it would go to the correct contacts on our end when it was sent out. And I think that's a great idea. I think it's needed, especially in light of what happened with the fertilizer. When they came in and fertilized. Soccer, lacrosse, we didn't get any notifications all day. I was canceling practices at 4:45. I was at the field at 5 o'clock telling people to get off because I didn't know. I was getting calls from other people who had heard it by softball, by baseball, that everything had been canceled already, that we shouldn't be on the fields.
I'm not sure who told you guys to stay off the fields. That is the one detail I'm not clear on.
I honestly, no one told us we were supposed to stay off the fields. I had heard from people who were in baseball that they were told to stay off the fields. Then I heard from people at LMS softball to stay off GMS because GMS was done by mistake. So at that point, it was the same company doing it all. So I'm like, I gotta get off. Because no matter, let me put it this way, no matter if we needed to be off or didn't need to be off, at that point, we needed to be off.
But who sent you the email?
LBA, the baseball, they sent out an email. It didn't affect us, so I didn't get it
All
till 2
because of
days later.
GMS.
So details.
Mhm.
He contracted out to a fertilizer.
Right.
Fertilizer company went to the wrong field. They worked all that battle out. I don't even think they did anything at GMS because they were seen at GMS. That was stopped even before fertilizer. So canceling anything at GMS made no sense because they didn't do anything there. When they moved on to our fields, like he said, they used, I have it in my truck, they used the state-approved fertilization. I've never, in all the
He
years I've
said-
done this,
Right, he's never heard of anyone aiming
Anyone
to stay off 24 hours.
saying
I think
stay
it
off
was
the field.
GMS caused the hysteria,
correct.
and
Who from, I don't know. It
Yeah.
wasn't from our contractor. It could have been from the fertilizing company. My follow-up to him was, A, you're gonna get back to me before the next fertilization, so I know when it's going on and what the details are, specifically from the fertilizing company, not just from you saying, I've never heard of this. So that's where we stand now with the next
Right.
fertilization.
Yeah, you mean, I just, you know, it's just strange that I didn't hear a thing.
agree.
until-
We were
Really?
dumbfounded too.
And baseball was canceling at like 11 in the morning. They canceled. So I mean, it's just one of those things where it rolled downhill, and I'm reacting last minute to everything because that's when we found out. And then, you know, as always, parents like, why are you just doing this now? Why are you letting this till last minute? So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I like the idea that Andy proposed having those emails, so, you know, if we get the email, then we can get in there and say, okay,
You wouldn't have gotten an email because we didn't know.
right,
Right. And that's the biggest problem with this one right now. So my conversations with him, I met with him on the fields last week. We spent about an hour together discussing where we stand with the fields, which ones need the most work, which ones need the least amount, but our process going forward
okay.
and our communication, him and I. I want to know what's going on a weekly basis, where they stand. You know, last week we're going to mow, you know, on this day, not Thursday, Friday, because of this.
Right.
I want that information coming forward.
So that's
We're
starting
doing,
this.
we're doing better right now.
Okay. That brings us back to mowing. I know they mowed today and not towards the end of the week. Now, it's probably not gonna be as big of a factor now because it's gonna be hot, so the
right.
grass isn't growing quite as fast. But if it's continually on a Tuesday as the seasons go on, especially all year and we get into the fall, mowing on a Monday or Tuesday is gonna be bad for games on Saturday, Sunday.
Correct.
So I wanted to,
He's going to push the schedule towards
okay,
the Thursday, Friday, knowing it's supposed to be Thursday, Friday. The concerns he had was we were gonna get to a point where it was gonna be too long on that Thursday and Friday to be able to recover. We're gonna lose what limited grass we have on
Okay.
some of the fields. So we're heading in that direction.
okay. I think that's all I have for that, in terms of that topic. My next thing is porta potties. We know that the rec commission took control of all of porta potty distribution for town fields.
Town hall did.
Okay. Soccer received an invoice for the porta potty put at Brickyard a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if town hall has to communicate with Dave and say, this should go back to, this needs to come to us. I mean, us going to him and saying, you need to take, this isn't ours, give it to someone else. Dave's isn't really gonna sit there and be like, oh, sure, we're gonna listen to what you're saying, just send it back to him, so, I
Can't
don't know.
soccer give it to Kevin Lynch and say, here, Kevin?
You can, I got a copy of it here, so.
Oh,
That's
I'll
an
take
easy
it.
solution.
Yep. I can take it and give it to Kevin tomorrow. Thanks. And you only got it for one? Huh. Cute, all right.
No, they, you know, I mean, it's always been, we'd always done Brickyard, and when we did the ones at GMS, they were on separate bills, which was kind of a nightmare for our treasurer at times, because we'd have a credit on one, and they wouldn't be, you know, it'd be all over the place. So, my last issue, I know this is kind of early to bring up, fall usage of Sawmill, of Innis. Trying to go down, trying to look now for some of the issues we had last year where there were just random organizations all of a sudden on the field at certain times. And while it doesn't, if you look at Sawmill now, you can already tell it's being worn a lot. So we try to rotate things around and make sure that, you know, we use different fields at different times of the year and everything. But when Tabernacle comes in and starts using it, or the middle school comes in and starts using it, it's always the same spot we're using, or which we're trying to avoid certain things. And we don't mind the use, but when you're playing 8 games there and then you're expecting it to be lined and all this maintenance to be done by someone else, we're bearing the brunt of, okay, we're lining it, we're doing this, we're doing that. We just want some sort of, I guess, respect for how the field's treated. Because, you know what I mean? The goal, it's usually those goal areas that are so beat up, because as much as we try to move them and try to tell coaches to move them, they're not always moved. So when you have, so we're trying to do it, then you have other organizations coming in, and they have even less of a care for what they're doing to the field. So they really just pound in the same area. So I don't know what the plan is for usage of the fields in the fall, but I guess it's asking on our end if you can just, when you grant use, to make it a point to try and even out use of the field.
So as I understand, the meeting we covered for usage of the fields for fall would be the second Monday of August?
Yeah,
Or
I think
Yes.
yes, it's the second, it's, actually, no, isn't it the first Tuesday?
Oh, first Tuesday,
First
you're right.
Tuesday.
First Tuesday of August
Yeah.
is when we'll start discussing fall usage. I would say at that moment would be the best time to remind us all what we're talking about, because I don't think any of us disagree that we have to remind others to respect the fields. At this moment, I don't even know who's gonna be coaching the middle school teams.
Oh,
But
really? Yeah.
So sending an email off would go to nobody
Right.
right now. That information from, you know, people who know, when we get close, is always helpful. We were a little late in getting back to the middle schools last year because they had started using things before we actually contacted them. If we do it ahead of time, it's a better benefit to all of us.
So it looks like it's August 4th. So that should be plenty of time before the school starts up.
Problem is, by August 4th, as much as we do this, it's highly unlikely the middle school will even have any idea what they're doing. They're gonna come to us afterwards.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly, as they always do, yeah.
Right,
But at least you'll have your schedule in place
right.
and be able to,
And then we'll follow up with the middle school prior to them going on it.
Right.
Tabernacle was what, a game a week last year?
I
Tabernacle was
Yeah.
honestly, well, it was a game a week, and then we found out after the fact that they were down there every day practicing. And no one knew that they were down there every day practicing, so.
And
And then we found out that BG was down there a day practicing, which I know was taken care of, but
it was. Tabernacle would be a harder one for us to take care of because it's a school in town.
Right.
So awareness, I guess, is better off at that point. We'll just
So they are
follow up.
Litchfield.
Yeah, oh,
That
yeah,
is
they're in
Litchfield.
Litchfield.
I'm not saying they can't use it. I'm just saying awareness of how to treat
Treat it
the
with the same
field.
respect.
Exactly.
I get it. What's where the whole BG conversation went to last year. I mean, that didn't make any sense at all. All right. Any more?
I'm done.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That was all good positive stuff, too. I have no usage requests. We've already talked about my biggest thing tonight was having my discussions with the landscaper
Yeah,
and our
I-
ongoing discussions.
Can you, elaborate, because it's really just, so he has committed to being engaged with you, at least to give you weekly updates?
He committed to us communicating weekly when we met last week. So we're touching base.
Right,
We're gonna-
it's
There was a big-
mind-boggling to me for a new account to have to chase after him the way Keith had to.
I will politely say what my email said to you, all of you, that our beginning of our discussion was not a
Right,
positive
you just said,
discussion. It was a very negative discussion. Our end of the first discussion, we came to an agreement where we stood, and we're in a much better place now than where we were and where we were headed.
Okay.
Guess that's the nicest way I can say that.
Are they on probation? Does he realize?
Oh, yes.
How close?
He does.
Okay.
But that's where the conversation turned. And we've been in a much better place, and we're talking about the right things for the right reasons right now.
Right, I didn't quite get that part of it. Is there anything, can you fire them?
Yes.
You can, okay. All right, and then you can start the bidding process again, or how does that work?
Well, that's the question, who's,
No,
How do you-
we'd have to then try to find somebody and then
if
go
it
to the
takes us.
selectmen and say, hey, we just upped our
We need more
budget X
money,
number of dollars.
so-
Right, okay, okay. So
Which
it
we could
doesn't
do,
go-
but
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it just went to the next, going back to the bids that we did receive, do we just go to the next company? Do we open it up for bidding? Do we just say, hey, listen, there's a guy in town,
we'd have to have that big discussion,
Gotcha.
which we communicated with each other on that and how that process works.
So is he going to continue to outsource, same as last
He
year's?
does, he wasn't last year.
No, I know, that, but I'm saying is, we
He's
realized
not
last,
outsourcing
he's
everything.
just doing the fertilization.
just the fertilization.
Okay.
He
Last
doesn't-
year, right,
he does
everything was
not fertilize.
outsourced.
He did say he thinks our plan of a 4-step fertilization is a weak plan. They didn't do any grub care for the last 2 years. He suspects that we have grubs in Sawmill.
Probably. Where the grubs were really starting a couple of years ago, that I noticed was Dara. I thought Dara over the last couple of years has gone worse. Like Sawmill, you laid down all that stuff, so it should be gradual, but I hadn't looked at Dara. In the fall, I went to see Dara at one point. I think we were discussing, can Tabernacle use down there for whatever, and I went and looked at the nets, but at that point, I was surprised at how much weeds and grubs and stuff were at Dara, considering how nice Dara had always been. I know that the former company, I had talked to him, and he had actually said along the way that he actually wanted to fertilize more too. So I'm not sure.
Well, if that was the case, then he should have just done what he was paid to do. It's an interesting statement to make.
Honestly, I know it's.
Our biggest failure was really not taking care of them in the fall, whether it be weather for us and not noticing what he didn't do or whatever. And as I explained to our current contractor, and you were all followed up on that, his checks aren't going to be paid in advance without a bond.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, because I knew you said we will not be paying, obviously. They billed us without any work being done,
Correct.
so,
And as the contract stated, is unless he presents us the performance bond, which is basically an insurance bond saying, yes, if he doesn't perform, we'll pay you back the money you paid him, which is too costly. He's going to get the money after the months are done. That was part of our whole conversation.
Yeah, it seems a little,
It-
yeah.
Again, a bad lesson from what happened with
So,
last contractor.
he's
We're in a
committed,
better
he'll
place.
contact, he'll keep you apprised of what's going on.
We're talking by phone, a couple emails, but and I'll forward you the information as needed. I mean, if it's
Right.
just a general information where, hey,
Now,
I'm
obviously,
mowing on Tuesday, no big deal.
The fields are in poor shape right now, primarily, I think, due to lack of rain, I'm guessing. I mean, I know up at Dara, unfortunately, we're having a problem with the well. So that's a complete disaster up there. Possibly grubs and everything, but it looks really,
Well company was up there
really
today.
poor. Yes, they were. We're gonna test it tonight after the games are done to see if it even turns on.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the fields down at Sawmill, it sounds like are in sad shape
Yeah, there are some nice
because they
burnt
were,
spots, and honestly, I think a lot of it comes back to when the watering wasn't turned on.
Right.
It just wasn't turned on until May 1st, or whatever that Friday was before May 1st.
even later.
The Sawmill, and then Innis wasn't turned on either, and, you know, the Innis that's a tough field to burn out, and that field there were drier spots than I've ever seen before.
He's working
And
towards.
this week's not gonna help.
Oh, I know. This is a bad week. No spring, right to summer,
No spring.
right to August.
We jumped from winter to summer. And he admitted in our conversations that because they went from winter to summer without a spring, he got behind on setting up irrigations. He had sent emails that he was gonna take care of it,
Okay.
blah, blah, blah. My answer was, I don't care.
Right.
It didn't. And that's really where my problem is right now, and we need to find a better home, because this excuse is a one-timer for me, because I don't want to hear,
yeah.
we didn't again, because if we do, then we're gonna say, well, have a nice day, because we don't have a choice here. It's just too many fields, too big an issue, too big a contract for us to say, oh, you couldn't do it because you had other contracts. I'm not
And a
that
volunteer
way.
commission. It's not like we have someone that can be on the
Right.
phone with him, talking
Right.
to him all. Okay, so,
His concern with having multiple people was getting multiple phone calls from different organizations and everybody else. I said, no, we're gonna make this really clear.
Yeah, there's not- yeah.
I'm not the person you really wanna be involved with, so I am the person you're involved with.
yeah,
That's how we got going in our bad place in the conversation. But again, that's always worked here in town, so we'll stick with that plan until somebody else
that's
wants to do
fine.
it.
That's, that, yep.
While we're talking about for the irrigation at Sawmill, even in Innis, the weekend of the 27th of June is the first weekend we don't have games there on Saturday, Sunday, so it probably should run Saturday and Sunday as well. Because right now it's on a Monday through Friday watering, because Saturday and Sunday they're being used all day. So
So nothing happening at Innis the weekend of June 26th and 27th, you said?
no, that's when the seasons are over that weekend.
Yep,
So the seasons end the weekend of the 20th.
okay,
So that watering cycle, Monday through Friday only, now can be extended
okay,
7 days.
okay.
Oh, right through.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Because
okay.
right now it's only 5, because especially Sawmill used to be, if you watered it, you weren't getting on it for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours at times. Now you can probably water and be on there 3 seconds later, but, you know what I mean, because it takes so long to get around the place, it's legitimately watering, I think, for 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So,
Okay, so,
but that weekend just started, because it's gonna be even hotter at that point, so it's gonna need more water.
We could always throw it at night, so other people who use the play Litchfield Park will be able to get in there during the day. We could change that.
okay. I do have, a couple of things. I saw your email to, that woman this morning requesting the use of, did she contact
Yeah,
contact you?
she
Okay,
responded
good.
back.
Is she Trina too? Because we
Yeah,
had.
two people had the same request.
Yes, yes, that's why I was, they
Oh, that
both
was a
had.
different
Both
person?
wanted Jack and Jill.
Well, that's what I was wondering, so I was like, gosh, maybe they're friends and they were both communicating, so there's Trina, who sent us an email last Friday, and then there's the one that you contacted Mary Ann this morning.
So Trina maybe never got an answer, or maybe.
We didn't respond to Trina, correct, but I wasn't sure with Mary Ann's email if they were one and the same, like if they were with the bachelorette.
I don't know. And I
Because they
didn't,
both had the
I
13th.
didn't
and
see
it
the
was
one,
both a Jack
oh,
and Jill,
Trina,
sorry,
right
Jack
here.
and Jill.
They gotta be both.
So one was
Easy
June
enough to just
13th.
copy your answer back to Trina and just say, not sure if you're the same
Yeah,
group,
just,
but here's the answer.
Okay.
but it was
I'll do-
funny, the
I'll-
same
I'll-
date
I'll do that
and
tonight.
same
Okay.
request, I mean,
Right.
Jack and Jill.
After the meeting, I'll copy
Okay,
that and
cool,
zip
thank
it
you.
off.
How about, Hyder Alwan, who has that men's 30, over 30?
He sent back a second request saying, ignore my first
Well,
request.
right, but it was just worded, I wasn't sure because he took out, his first email said, you are, so his first email read, years ago, we had similar problems. I spoke with friends from the temple Adith Yashran, who thought I might be able to, use time at your fields. That paragraph was removed in the second email. He said, please disregard my first email. He removed that. He said, my friend, so that piece.
He didn't say he wasn't still requesting.
Right, he didn't say he still, he just said, please
This is
disregard
a-
my first email.
Right.
So my question is, does this go back to what we do with talent, where we don't technically, he's not a resident, he doesn't state anywhere that he's a resident. He said he runs a men's 30,
Wasn't there an address at the end? He lives in Litchfield.
oh, he does, I'm sorry.
Pinecrest
He
Road.
does live in Richfield, I'm sorry, he didn't mention that he was, he just said that he's, yep, you're right, so he is a Litchfield resident, he runs a men's 30 and up rec soccer team, and they usually practice in Merrimack at the Anheuser-Busch facility. Now, obviously,
So we'd be allowing a league to come in, I mean, he's not asking for use of the field for town residents, he's looking to get his league in here,
correct.
if I'm reading this
Yep,
right.
you're right. It's a men's league. They have insurance. The ages range from 30 to 60. But not only that, he's looking for midweek. That, right now, is not even an option. I don't believe.
No, we run, there's, summer soccer during the summer.
Now,
Well,
starting now.
One or
He's,
two
Now-
midweek games in June.
No,
So
now,
the an-
and, yeah.
The answer
our
is,
games are new, okay, he said, where did he go down and say but he's looking for times now. I thought it was now, but maybe I'm
it
incorrect.
says midweek June, if you read down through it.
Okay, midweek in June, okay. My initial needs is for time next week, both midweek
That's the first email, right?
and Sunday. No, that's the second email,
Okay.
final paragraph. My initial needs for the time next week, both midweek and Sunday. I will be looking for 1 or 2 midweek games in June, possibly as well. So, I don't know what the availability is. He doesn't state a field, so obviously we have fields. I know, at least at Dara, there's no midweek available to run a men's soccer
Yeah,
practice.
there's nothing in Sawmill you can midweek to run anything either.
Right. So,
So, I guess, if our fields are sitting 100% clean, I'd send a response back to him saying, hey, our fields are in good condition, how many dates are you looking for, and what are the specific dates? Based on where our fields stand right now, letting somebody else jump on the fields, a bunch of adult athletes, would probably be a bad choice. That's my opinion. I don't know where you guys stand on that.
right now, I think it's a bad choice. They're just not in good shape.
So, is anyone
At least not for midweek.
interested in having them do this?
I mean, are Sundays available? I don't know what lacrosse looks like,
But it still comes back down
Same
to,
thing, though.
but it's the same thing. Well, I mean, having them use it 3 times a week as opposed to 1 time a week.
I don't know if I'd encourage anybody to use the fields right now.
Right now. Now, is that, so we're basing it right now, so I can tell him, right now, our fields aren't in good shape. We're basing it on, no, you can't
Are
use the
you
field.
answering him right now?
I was
He's
typing
answering.
up one of the.
And that's fine. So we're basing it on the fields not being in good shape, not that in the future, say next year, say our fields look good, we would consider you having another league, okay,
I mean, we'd certainly, any future rec commission can look at a different
league.
request every year.
Yep.
And say, hey, possibly. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about how many residents, I mean, that's how, where our questions usually head
Right.
down, is how many residents are from Litchfield, and is it really in the best interest of Litchfield to run a men's league over here with one Litchfield resident?
Right.
Which is kind of the BG comments from last year. It didn't make any sense to have a program with private funds and private fields using, our fields
Yeah.
and doing damage to them. So fields in Litchfield currently be used by the Litchfield Recreation Program. Because of field conditions, we cannot accommodate your request at this time. That okay with everybody? All right. What else you got?
So the other thing has to do with love the new road coming into Dara. Really nice, that connecting road. But truly, people are using it as a road when they're driving right through now directly to the pond. I mean, there's no stopping, and frankly, I don't know. Sometimes I see fishermen, other times I'm like, we're just not sure what's going on down there.
Most of the time it's dogs, to be honest with you. They're walking their dogs and they're throwing the ball for the dogs, to the pond.
Yeah, and it could,
A lot of it.
the issue, I can understand if you need to, one guy watched this evening drive his canoe down. So, okay, I'm watching a canoe. But we have nothing there that states
Correct.
that they can't drive through, but so either they're going fast. We had games there right now, and there's kids right along the road. So there's no adherence to, and we have no speed limit. There's no, so I'm wondering a couple of questions I have. One, would it be wise for us to put a couple of speed bumps along that? If they're gonna use this as, which they seem to be using it, just as a road directly down to Dara now. Or I did pull the gate shut the other day, and I was shutting it, and up comes, this is 9:15, up comes a car right from the pond. I'm like, oh, so I had to open it back up, and I'm like, you guys fishing? He's like, yeah, we're fishing. I'm like, okay. And then I'm reading the sign, it does say it closes at 9. So I'm like, and I was shutting it early, it was 9:15. But I'm wondering, what do we do now? Because it's really getting a lot of activity.
When the kids show up to play, close the gate.
But then I'm trapping people that are down there
Okay,
already.
they can open the gate,
Yeah.
close it back up behind them.
Yeah, just from my observation all winter, even all winter with the whole, I know that you said you shouldn't be dropping kids off at Talon Hall. I saw that in meetings and everything. There were more people being dropped off at Talon Hall this winter than I've ever seen before. Everyone was being dropped off, people turning around, leaving. Realistically, I think the only way to do it is shut the gate. Or you don't have to shut it all the way, shut it 3/4 of the way, shut it almost, people, I know the biggest concern out of people is, well, handicap entrance, how are you gonna get in? Well, if you leave it wide enough for a wheelchair to get in, but not wide enough for a car to get in, you kind of solve that problem. And then if people have to get out and open the gate and then shut the gate, which shutting the gate may not happen, but they're gonna have to open it, that's gonna slow them down from going right through.
Right, so we don't have, right now it states park open until 9 PM.
Doesn't say the gate's open, it says the
No,
park's open.
it does say park.
There's a sign right there, authorized vehicles only.
Is it on the gate?
Yes,
I haven't seen it.
just to the right of the gate, on the telephone pole as you go in, authorized vehicles only.
Inside, parking for authorized vehicles only.
No, it just doesn't say parking, just authorized vehicles only.
So-
I mean, we could try and amend.
We used to lock, and for a while we were locking it so that it's like 4 feet, 5 feet open, so you could get
And I
handicap
did that,
access.
and I did that. and
But then we got the brush back because people that were bringing their boats down couldn't get access to bring
So
their
that's
boats
my
down.
question. What do we do? So I say I get there, I'm not there every night, but so say I go there and I decide, okay, I'm gonna shut this gate. And then I'm at the snack shack, or wherever I am, I'm 3 fields away, and someone with a canoe. Do they get out of their
So
car?
like you said, they get out of their car and do
Open-
it themselves.
and they
You
open
need
it
to be
up?
the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't lock it, I just shut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they,
Take care of them.
And if you're close, you walk over, because it's the same people. You walk over like I do and say, hey, next time you use the gate, please close it
Close
behind
it
you when you're
behind
done. That's all.
okay, I'm just wondering if we, okay, so, I wish it's not what I'm I just think the road is causing a lot more, I think the road's great, but it's being used now as a real access point. No one's thinking now, oh, I gotta park and stop. I've never seen so much activity down at the pond.
There's so many cars down at the pond now, I'm amazed.
And I don't think it's truly fishing anymore, and that's my concern. I think there's other things that are happening. I don't know we don't have any real surveillance. They're down there at odd times. They're just, it's just.
I've been down there multiple times during the day. Typically anywhere from 4 to 6 cars down there. Some with dogs, some with boats, some just fishermen. I haven't seen any illicit activity down there, which is a good thing.
That's good.
Because that would be a whole different way for us to be talking. The gate locking, they didn't want us to do based on conversation with the selectmen about voters complaining to selectmen they didn't have access to the field. The handicapped access, we're trying to work out to the gate to the right of the main gate so that during the winter we actually have a place for the handicapped people to park and we can keep that gate closed.
So,
Again, you still have your issue in the winter that we gotta make sure it's open when the plows have to go, because we don't want those guys climbing down trying to pop this thing open, because they're gonna drive right through the thing.
And for the police, we want the police to be able to get the cruisers in
and that's
there.
understandable. And so I understand the access, and I guess this is why I was thinking the speed bumps, because they're just not adhering, there's no speed anything, and they just drive. So if you're driving 20 miles an hour, they may not think they're going fast, but 20 miles an hour along a bunch of little ones, that's fast. So is the board opposed to considering like a couple of bumps? I mean,
I would.
I think you create a whole problem with the plows and other things for a small area like that, throwing speed bumps in.
Okay.
I think our better place, close the gate and start getting to those people who are utilizing it and saying, it's okay to get back here, but 5 miles an hour, bring your boat down and then park out front. That's what our past policy has been. My question is, do we start pushing that policy on the fishermen and so forth? It's not supposed to be cars down there. And my trips down there over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
it's a lot of cars.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of
Do
cars.
we start going back down there and saying, hey, you need to pull out? I have no issue doing
Well,
that.
there's no posting anywhere. It doesn't
Right.
say
But I think
limit.
what we need to do is we need to talk to the police and find out what's the best way to handle it as far as enforcement, because they're gonna be the ones that are patrolling it and enforcing it, and we
Right.
don't wanna set something up where it sets them up for, well, how do I do this? Is it, no parking down there at all, and just put no parking signs down there, so if the police go down there and somebody's parked, they can tell them to move, or they get ticketed. That way, we stop the people with the boats will go down, drop the boat off, pull out and park.
So, what prevented us from doing that originally? Softball. Was, we need our vehicles in for the
Snack
stands and
shack.
so forth.
For the what?
To bring
The
to
stuff,
the
yeah.
concession stands. We put no parking, it goes to everybody.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
selective.
fine. I don't park.
Do we want to go down that path?
I am the concession. I don't park over there. I walk there's been occasions, but I drive my car back out if I have to lug something.
Even at the Turkey
Drop
Bowl,
off only.
how many people park there because they saw everybody goes lugging stuff, keep their car there, and then, well, if they park there, I can go. So a ton of cars.
It only takes one car.
Oh, it only takes one.
It only
Exactly.
takes one car.
And that's why it's
There's
like,
always-
and now they're seeing, they watch, and I realize the guy's not gonna lug a canoe, so he drives his car down, but other guys, I don't know, it's just the volume now, it's a lot of volume.
I mean, I blew my gasket in March because there was people parked in front of Town Hall. I went in, I was nuts. Because they're parked on the lawn in front of Town Hall.
I'm not looking to
Sprinkler
go
heads and
nuts,
everything
and I'm
else.
not
I'm like,
looking to-
this is crazy.
And I'm not looking to prevent them, I think, like I said, my thing would be more the speed. I'm more concerned that there's gonna be one little one that walks out, and I think because there's nothing that prevents them just from, and yes, we can shut the gate, but either we make a notice saying gate must be closed because I don't know I guess we can send an email out to the league and say, should it just be softball's responsibility to shut the gate? Is that what you're saying?
Who's ever there,
Well,
It
utilize
should
the
be, it
gate.
should be everyone's responsibility.
Yeah, not just so.
Like,
But there's
if you-
no,
if you
but it's
go
been
along-
open for so long now, Mike, it's, no one thinks to shut it anymore.
Honestly,
I mean-
this is the same problem we used to have at GMS with soccer and people coming in and parking in there because there was a chain up and then someone would leave the chain open and like 12 cars would be in there. You have to start telling people and then you gotta just start shutting it. And then school put in the big gate and now no one parks there because there's a big gate there. Same thing at Sawmill. Sawmill's always people parking around the circle. Finally, the sawhorses with the signs stapled to the sawhorses, basically covering everything but like a car and a half width, has stopped pretty much all the parking in that circle.
And maybe even just a sawhorse or whatever that is with the sign on it.
Yeah.
I mean, could we just put that in front and say,
Drop off only, no parking.
yeah, drop off only?
If you're doing concession, if you're doing a canoe.
Well,
it's
I'm thinking canoe, drop off only, yeah,
Yeah, no
drop
parking.
off only.
So I love the idea of saying cars past this point for drop-off only, then park in the lot. We gotta talk to Brunel and make sure the selectmen are okay with that, and then we'll get the sign.
And we can just say no parking beyond this point for drop-off only.
Drop off only, yeah, I like that.
I think
And we
it's a
just-
smarter place for us to go. And I think
Some
that's
sort of
gonna take
signage,
care of
'cause
the
just
winter
doing a
issues
gate-
and so forth. But for speed, as soon as the kids show up, or before the kids show up, I'd close the gate, just take care of the
Now-
issue.
So, the softball tournament, that means if we put that up there, nobody can park past that gate.
Okay, I'll have to,
That's gonna be a tight squeeze on parking, because I know they usually pull all the officials and coaches and stuff in there. So I mean, it's kinda like
Yeah,
the
that's true.
neighbors,
All
the neighbors
the
at Brickyard,
umpires.
we don't want any parking, we don't want any parking, we don't want any parking. Oh crap, now I can't park in front of my own house. They had, they were willing to deal with that, cause,
Yeah,
but
that's
you
it.
gotta take, you can't just be selective with it.
nope,
It's-
that's true, that is true, that's a valid point. That's where all the umpires go and everybody else because you have all these other towns coming in, there's not enough parking.
You guys use the high school?
Use the high school.
It's gonna take a few weeks to get any signs and selectmen to go through it and everything, so why don't you let us know next meeting what
By July.
softball thinks of this?
Okay, I can do that, yeah, because we're supposed to have a board meeting. No, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. Okay. So I think that was it for the, so you sent it to Hayden.
I did, copied you
You're
guys.
gonna talk to Trina.
I'll forward Trina the other email.
I think we're all set with Jeanette, Andy.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance
Times
to look
and
at those
dates,
emails
but
yet.
she seemed good.
Okay.
She was good. And just the well, I guess it's working.
I was just trying to read Kevin's email.
So I don't know if I missed the conversation on, I got Keith's email on the ATV.
He did purchase it.
Now, whose ATV is it?
Is it
Is it-
LGSL's?
That's my question. Because I thought we had agreed on equipment, and I didn't sort of read into it that it would be an ATV.
No, the equipment is the dragging machine.
No, they used the,
He did buy an ATV to to attach the dragging machine?
right.
Right.
But he said that money was, the money that we used was used to purchase the ATV.
Correct. It did say that.
So now,
I read it differently than that,
Did you?
yeah.
I'm trying to find his email. I see fence.
It was under if
Wow.
we're doing a meeting tonight,
Oh, okay, thank you.
meeting tonight.
LGSL has purchased an ATV for field maintenance, is what
right,
it says.
but I will be submitting a reimbursement request for the previously approved funds. So those funds went to the ATV.
We didn't approve enough to buy an ATV.
I know. But I mean, not only that,
I
So-
think we'll have to wait and talk to Keith on this, because it's talking about dragging the gravelers in the parking lot. We approved for the dragging equipment. So now they have a way to drag the equipment around.
right, but
Yeah, LGSL may have some money. I mean, they have some money, I know. So I don't know.
I think that just needs to be clarified, because now you're talking insurance issues. Somebody's on that ATV, you know, if that's equipment purchased with our money, then you can't have somebody unlicensed driving it. You've got to make sure that, you know, it's just a whole can of worms we do not want to look at. You know, because I can see kids, you know, a 16-year-old, oh, here, take this and go grab this, and they give it to them, and they're just booking it across the field, and
So we gave $1,000, we approved $1,000 to buy what? The dragging
The
equipment?
dragging
The
equipment.
machine, though, wasn't it supposed to be a machine?
No, it's the unit.
The
that
unit,
needs to be dragged,
the unit that you needed to drag,
Yeah.
okay.
because they were talking about what they were gonna drag it with. I mean, $1,000 isn't gonna get an ATV, they're talking something like this is 9 or 10
that's
grand.
why, yeah.
We've only got $1,000 we put out there, so I don't even think we have a portion of the cost of the ATV covered.
No, he knows how much that we approved it for $1,000.
Right.
Yeah, so,
We can follow up with Keith on this. All right,
that was it. I don't think there was any,
anybody else?
I just have a quick question about Talent Hall. Does anybody know offhand what the capacity is at?
It's right inside the front door. It's
It's-
250,
yeah.
250?
250 with no tables.
No tables, 185, I think?
No, it's less than, it's more than that. It's like 3-something with no
There's a sign, the
tables,
fire department put a
225
sign
with
right up
tables.
inside.
There is, okay.
Yeah, the fire,
We had, I don't know if you guys know the whole Campbell High incident during playgroup. So I need to bring it to somebody's attention. If they're trying to fit 600 kids into that building, coming from Campbell into that building, I mean, would have been a nightmare had we not run. So we have some issues with that. We literally had a 3-minute headway where they came and they told us that Campbell High is coming. Could we get our kids onto the stage? And I said, no, we can get our kids out of here. Please don't bring them in until we clean up and get the kids out of here.
was that part of the emergency evac?
Yeah,
It is, but if
They
you're
had-
fitting 600 kids in there and God forbid a fire happens in Talent Hall and they start bottlenecking, my son is in that school. I'm sure you guys have kids in there too. I don't want them packing 600 kids into Talent when they're not supposed to be in there. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's a huge issue for me. So I just wanted to find out.
That would be
what-
more, that would be more of a fire chief issue, because they're the ones that are gonna be,
Right.
they're the ones that are gonna be running the evacuation of Campbell, and they'll decide what's a safe, you know, because there might be stipulations where, if it's the only shelter and there's an emergency, it's better, you know,
see, you can go over capacity if there's a fire watch.
if there's somebody in there, if there's a fireman in there, you can go over capacity.
They had nobody in charge in there.
What's that?
They had no principal, they had no vice principal, nobody knew who was in charge. We had a coach, it was the coach who came over and said to get the kids out, to get the kids on the stage.
Well, one of the coaches is he's in charge of that,
Right.
Kelly Fraser.
Kelly, yeah.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
in charge of that.
That's, right.
He was there or he
He's the
wasn't
safety
there?
manager for the
Was
school,
there.
right?
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
then, but asking.
That's
questions.
his duty at the school.
Okay,
He's the one who contacts for any usage. Obviously, that day, they weren't contacting, they were told to get out.
yeah,
For the,
which I get that, I'm just trying to. kind of
I guess the
put my
follow-up with
thoughts
that would be the fire chief. Ask him what he wants, if there's anything we should be doing for that, or if he's gonna take care of it, and just push that one off. I don't even know if we wanna get stuck
No,
on
this
it.
is me personal, as a Litchfield resident, as a mom for Campbell High.
So
No, but
email
it's-
the fire chief and see what he says.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you guys knew offhand what the capacity is. I didn't realize it was on the door.
Capacity is all determined by a fire watch anyway.
Okay.
That's normal capacity. That's all that sheet is.
Okay,
Everything after that, they can do their own thing.
okay, so fire chief, you think?
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's who determined the original capacity.
Was it, okay,
Old fire chief, not the current one.
okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how it went, chain of command type thing. Who's in charge?
I think it's my ride.
Anybody else? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
500. Have a great day. Thank you.